Hi, I'm Bran, and I love Hallmark movies.
I'm Dan, and I despise Hallmark movies.
I'm Rhiannon Fish. I'm actually a little nervous to be here because I've watched you guys review a few of my movies before.
And this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Well, hi, everybody.
Welcome to the Deck the Hallmark podcast, where Dan is now terrified.
Wow.
Rhiannon,
Yes,
you're wonderful. You didn't
Thank you.
listen to the Journey of My Heart, did
I
you?
did.
No.
Well, that's
No.
But no, you guys were so lovely, and everything you said, I absolutely appreciated everything you said. And it was like I chose to go out there and search and see what people were saying, and I appreciate the feedback. It was one of the last times I did that. I learned a lesson. I was like, this maybe isn't good for me, but I appreciate you guys watching and talking about it.
Well, we don't do a lot of prep before our interviews, but I always look to see what else the actor has been in, and I saw it and went, well, we'll just skip over that one because I don't want her to be like, go back and listen, because I know how hard I was on that movie.
and
I appreciate it.
Yeah, but I mean, we've always had nice things to say about you, Rhiannon, even
That
when
is true.
we've mispronounced your name 6 ways.
Yeah,
to
how
sundown.
do you feel about me calling you the fish? Because I'm
I
nervous.
love
about saying
it.
the first. Okay, thank you.
I absolutely love it.
I will call you the fish throughout this interview, but I
Thank you so
mean it
much.
with the highest amount of respect, and I hope you know
I
that.
feel that. Thank you so much.
Well, we went from Rhiannon, and then
Yeah.
which is similar to QAnon, I believe.
Yeah,
and
we
then
got rid of that quick.
Bram was like, just would look, and he would go, the fish. Apparently, we've never listened to Fleetwood Mac, and that's our problem, not your problem.
No, it's a nightmare of a name. Most people say it wrong. So I we'll go with the fish. That's easy for everybody.
Gosh, you're just too kind.
The fish. Let's go back to the beginning of life. Where were you born, and what were you like as a kid? Were you one of those kids that was like, I'm going to put on a show for you, or did that come a little bit later in life?
I was born in Calgary, grew up in Australia, and it was one of those situations where I was an only child. And then when my sister was born, I instantly wanted to be in the forefront of the home movies, and that sort of continued on, I guess, till now.
Australia.
We got to back up briefly. What precipitated the move to Australia from Alberta? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I was in Calgary, Alberta, moved to Australia, and I lived there for like 25 years. My dad's an engineer, so they just transferred him for work, and we stayed. Have you guys been to Australia before?
Oh,
Never
it's a
been.
dream.
It's quite wonderful and such a wonderful place to grow up. I really, really love it there.
Well,
You grew up there? Was there
Mhm.
any accent that kind of started to flow in at all?
No, and that's the bizarre thing. They say that sometimes children will just sort of echo whatever their parents do. So my sister and I we both have this sort of standard American or Canadian accent. So that when I worked in Australia, it meant that I had to learn an Aussie accent to be on film and television there.
wow.
So you got one though. You got it in
an
the
Aussie
bag.
It's not good, but it's passable.
You should have brought it out in Journey of My Heart.
Maybe that would have helped the movie.
Yeah,
It might have got a better review.
No,
Is that a tough accent to learn? I can just say Bobby. Put it on the Bobby. That's all I got. That's kind of how I slip into it. But
That's perfect.
thank
You
you.
nailed that.
Thank
That's
you.
all you really need. And then just from there, it's almost just like you completely relax your mouth and then it's there, but you've nailed it with Bobby.
Thank you.
So the thing is, Canada, Australia, those are the two nations that are known primarily just for being nice people.
Yeah.
That's their primary, for America anyway, the primary
Yeah,
characteristic.
you guys
of
are the
Canadians
worst.
and Australians are like, why are they so nice and they get free health care? Like, those are the two
am I right?
things. Like, so, like, you just have no choice but to be kind, basically. If you're
I
from those
do
two
see
places.
a huge correlation between the people in Canada and the people in Australia. I find down to the work ethic and just like you're saying, with just people being generally quite nice, I do see a lot of similarities between the two.
Huh. Interesting. So what brought you back to the States or to Canada or wherever you went back from Australia? Like what brought you back this way?
Well, Australia is a smaller pond just in that there's less work. It means that you can, I found quite a bit of success there just in like the soap operas that we've got. But then I sort of ran out of work. There is work there for sure, but definitely not as much as there is in Vancouver. So I came over here and I've been so lucky with my experience with Hallmark here.
How do I know that soap operas in Australia are a big deal. How do they compare to soap operas like here in the States that have been like running forever? Are they similar in style and feel?
Very, very similar. The show that I primarily did was called Home and Away, and it's essentially sort of like a Young and the Restless, but it's set on the beach. So every storyline you could possibly imagine. I think it's been going for 30, 40 years, and it's one of those things that I just don't think it will ever stop. I hope it doesn't.
So like, why would it at this point?
Yeah,
exactly.
You did 325 episodes of that program in 3 years. And so you memorized a lifetime of Hallmark movie scripts. I mean, just with all the dialogue you had to churn through there for sure, right?
100%. I think it's really helped with these Hallmark movies because, as you guys would know, we shoot them very, very quickly. There's not a lot of rehearsal time. There's not a lot of time to get to know the other actors. So working on a soap opera, you kind of learn how to move very, very quickly. And I think it's absolutely helped me out with these MOWs.
So you played April Scott in Home and Away. What was the craziest storyline April Scott was a part of?
She slept with her sister's husband.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not that bad.
Well, we had somebody say someone who had shot and come back as a ghost father of themselves.
Oh, that's wild. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that is when you're your own ghost father. That's when not the Holy Ghost. Like you get shot and then you're a ghost that's also your own father. That was, I don't remember who that was, but we had that one. That's the one that was
a lot.
Yeah, that's definitely wild.
Yeah. So how do you go from just being the star of home videos to deciding that you want to maybe get into acting as a kid?
Well, sort of what I had said is that with Australia being a much smaller pond, there were like a lot more opportunities. So basically just from going to drama school and musical theater, it was very easy to sort of get scouted or picked up and then find your way into our soap operas there.
Huh. So what was the soap opera your first gig?
No, well, we have another soap opera there called Neighbors. That was my first job. I worked on that when I was around 11, and that was my first step into film and television.
Was Margot Robbie on Neighbors?
She was. Yeah, good one. Yeah.
Random fun fact I know about Margot Robbie for those of you playing at home.
Yeah. Yeah, it
I just had that right back there in the old noggin, just ready to go. So are you saying that if I want to get started in acting, I should move to Australia and try
100%.
to
You're in. You'll be, I swear to you, you'll be on one of those soap operas so fast.
But
they'll scoop you right up.
Wild is I feel like there are a lot of pretty famous Australian filmmakers or actors. Like, do you guys still, is it small enough in your mind that you still pull for all of those people? Like, you know what I mean? Like you see a Baz Luhrmann movie or like a Margot Robbie movie, you're still like, all right, they're on the map and they're still doing it, or are we past
100%. I know that even like the Hemsworth brothers, for example, they were, I believe both of them were on Home and Away. It's wonderful. And I think Australia just sort of has that sort of like attaboy attitude where it's like every time you see an Aussie succeed, I think it feels good for the whole of Australia. We're all very proud.
Are you an Australian footy fan?
Yeah, I love football. Do you guys?
What team do you?
Melbourne Demons.
Okay, so we are we may have to stop the interview right now.
This is a big deal.
This is important. We are actually card carrying members of the Western Bulldogs.
I like the Bulldogs.
Bulldogs.
No way.
That's a joke.
Sick.
Boom.
Bulldogs are great.
That's right. And she's even kind about that. We had a fan from Australia that basically wanted to indoctrinate us into the world and said, if you'll pull for the Bulldogs, we'll make you like whatever. Like we pay them the yearly whatever thing. They do it for us.
We pay dues.
Yeah. And so they give us all this. We have like scarves and like
in our mind, we own the team. We're part owners.
We're part owners is what we say.
Understood. I'll tell people that moving forward.
Thank you. And that's important for us.
It's the Melbourne Demons. Is that who it is? Okay. Yeah. Have they had a lot of success in the footy league that you're aware of?
Yeah, last year, or maybe 2 years ago now, they won the grand final, which was huge. We
Wow.
brought the cup back to Melbourne, which was very exciting.
Man.
I'm not sure how they're doing this year, but I love the game. It's really fun. Have you guys watched a game
Yeah,
before?
I don't know. When I learned all the rules. It's wild.
Yep.
Like it took me,
Wild.
and I'm a huge sports guy, but it was like a different world.
Yep.
And then the first year we did this, Western played in the grand final, I believe.
That was
And
a big, that
we
was a
got
big
up
day
and
for
watched
us.
like some of it on YouTube. Like
I love that.
it was a lot of fun. And when you said Hemsworth, it made me think of it because I think the Hemsworths are big Western Bulldogs fans. And
Yeah.
that's what we were told anyway. I don't know. At the
Well,
last
they
team meeting.
come to the team meeting.
Yeah,
They
of course.
haven't been in a while, but
So are your parents still in Australia?
Yeah.
Okay. So you do all this, like you get on a soap opera, you get on another one for over 300 episodes. At some point we're moving over to across the pond
Yeah.
here. We're moving over to the
Yeah.
States. What happened? How did that happen? Was that just you going, I want to go to LA, see if I can make it, or what?
100%. There used to sort of be this, and this was pre-COVID. There was this idea that as an actor, you had to be in LA. And that was one of these wonderful blessings that did come out of the pandemic, was that people sort of realized you can be anywhere you want. And now actors were all just self-taping. Yes, occasionally you'll be brought into the room to do a chemistry test or to meet with the directors and the producers. But for the most part, everything is done via Zoom for self-tape. And it means that you can live anywhere, which if I could go back in time it was different then. So I did follow the rules and I went to LA, stayed there for a little bit. And then the only job I booked while in LA was shooting in Canada. So I was like, what am I doing? I might as well just come live here because this is where everything shoots anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
so when you go to LA, I imagine you're grinding and you're trying to go to as many auditions as possible. Now I imagine it's like that, but with self-taping.
Self-tapes. Yeah.
Do you like that more, self-taping, or is there I imagine that there is a temptation to make it perfect, where when you're in the room, you really only have one thing and hopefully it goes well. And if not, that's it.
There's a different energy.
Yeah. How do those two things compare to you, and which one, if given the preference, would you do over the other?
Super good point. And the thing is, I think everybody would have a different answer. I am a terrible auditioner. I get very, very nervous and very self-conscious. So now when I'm able to do it from my house and take as many goes as I need, I find it personally better. However, a lot of people out there will say that they miss being able to go in the room.
So you don't miss that at all?
No, I hate it. I hate it.
If you don't mind sharing a memorably bad audition, like where you were like, I just left and I was just like, this was the worst thing that I've ever done. I'm going to just go put my head under a pillow and never leave my room again.
I mean, the list is endless, but there were a few. I know it was like, it started even when I was young and in Australia and auditioning. I would have been about, 14 years old. So a kid. And I remember the casting director, as I was acting, put his head down on the desk and was like, what is she even doing? And then
No.
I mean, I wasn't doing well. It wasn't a good audition. I know that now, and I knew it at the time, but still I was like, I look back at it and I was like, I was just a little kid. So I think that's one of the reasons why those things never leave you. I'm still terrified to go in the room because of my experiences when I was younger.
Wow.
Dan came into my office the other day and gave me a similar idea, and I'm just like,
what are you even doing here? And
that's my everyday. That's my everyday.
We're just going to need to take the Journey of My Heart episode just right off of the old just people should be able to find it. I actually think I did say I like the lead. I think I said I like
you did.
Okay.
You did.
Good. That makes me feel a little bit better.
What's interesting about that movie is that that was like the first.
That's got to be the first one you're.
It's the first Johnson movie, Big Johnson as we call him,
That's
Johnson.
Yeah,
movie that we saw, and it felt like we've seen a handful of Johnson films
that are all filmed in that same forest.
All filmed in that forest.
100%. And we worked with the same crew as Chasing Waterfalls, and the crew the whole time was like, "This is the same movie."
Same movie. Yes,
the same movie, and they released them quite close to each other. So I don't know.
So that is at least, because I think Chasing Waterfalls came out first. And then we watched it, and I was like, this is the same exact thing. We're doing it again.
Yep.
Which no need. That was something. So what's your first big gig here in America? Was it the 100?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think I watched a few episodes of that early on, and you had what, a 7-episode arc on the 100.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
It was hard. It's hard to come into any show, I think, as a guest, especially because, that cast and crew and the whole production was such a, tight-knit group. It was very hard to sort of penetrate that, but I feel like I got very, very lucky. I enjoyed my experience a lot while it was difficult. And I met some really wonderful fans, and then got to go on to do a convention sort of around the world, which was such a blessing. I loved doing that.
That was a CW joint, right?
Yeah.
So CW shows are kind of soapy in their own right. Like they have
100%.
this. How did that compare to like coming from Australia, where you're doing the soap game and had a very specific way of shooting it, to coming over and doing something that's kind of similar but also different?
Again, great question. Because it was very, very different with these MOWs or Hallmark movies, and with the soap operas, we shoot so quickly. It's basically like 2 camera setups. You have no time to mess up. You have no time to try different things. Whereas for a CW type show, we shoot the same scene all day. And I appreciate while some people would like that, and maybe that's because that's what they're used to. But for me, I find it gets very stale very quickly. I think there's something about having to get something right very quickly that kind of keeps you on your toes and makes it more fun.
Yeah, that would make sense. And then, but yeah, because if you're shooting a 40-minute television show and you have a week versus 15 days to shoot a feature, basically a feature film.
100%.
Yeah, very, very different. And a lot of those TV shows just have 1 or 2 locations, whereas you guys are all over. So after that, there's one other movie here, but then you get the next credit that I see is You're Baking Me Crazy.
Yeah.
Is Michael Rady and Natalie Hall. They've both been on our program. They're wonderful
Love
people.
them.
How did you get involved in that? And that's your first Hallmark. So how did you get involved in the Hallmark world?
So that was one of my first auditions here. It just came up and I ended up booking it. And I have to say, Natalie Hall in particular, Michael's so lovely too, but I mostly work with Natalie, and she's just a divine human being. So lovely. I am always so happy to see anytime she's in a Hallmark movie. I think Hallmark is lucky to have her. She's just a lovely person and such a pleasure to watch on screen.
She's great. She's so great.
So you were like the best friend in that movie? It's been a few
years. I was. I had like I was thinking about this recently. I think I had like a handful of lines. I was in like 2 scenes, and then I went on to do another couple supporting roles in Hallmark. And then it went into the leads, and I've just been so lucky ever since then to sort of stay in that pocket of lead characters.
You're one of the few to like go from that supporting to the lead. Like it doesn't like there will be a few where we see a supporting person where like we hope that person becomes a lead, but like it doesn't seem like it happens all the time. How did it happen for you to where you're able to head on up to the lead?
It might have actually been, I think it was Journey of My Heart. And I knew Lucy Guest, who's the director. She's gone on to direct some really wonderful things, and such, again, great person. And she just knew me, and she gave me that shot, that opportunity, and pushed me towards the producers, and they went with it. And since then, it's just like, that's that thing with acting, is that you just need somebody to help you get in the door. And I feel so grateful that I had that sort of experience.
So since then, has it just been like a call situation instead of an audition? So it's just been like, Rhiannon, we have another part we'd like for you to come and do. Like, is that what it is now with Hallmark?
Yes, which as an actor is an absolute dream. I every day I just feel so grateful and so lucky to have that experience.
Yeah. And you were in, before you became a lead, actually Journey of My Heart came out first, but you were in the most recent Signed, Sealed, Delivered movie.
I loved that movie. I had a lot of fun on that.
Did you get indoctrinated into that fan base, which is ardent?
Yes.
They are
I did. I had a wonderful experience on that movie. And they had said to me, if they were to make another one, I can't remember. Her name is Martha, I believe, the writer. And she said to me, if there were to be another one, that I would have the opportunity to come back, which I would love. Again, crew on that cast also lovely. I loved the character that I played. I had a great time on that movie. I loved it, and I can understand.
It's one of the better Sunset Delivery movies. It really is. We've seen them all.
We have seen them all, and I like that you said that. That makes me happy remembering that you have seen them all. You've done a handful of these type of movies. Some of them specifically for Hallmark.
Yes.
Some of them for something like Johnson that ends up getting picked up by Hallmark, and some that look like they should be for Hallmark, but we've never seen them before.
I'll make it. Yeah.
Is there a difference in making these movies depending on whether or not it is specifically for Hallmark or not?
Absolutely. I would say the main difference is budget. The ones that you guys have never ended up seeing were still definitely pitched to Hallmark. They just didn't end up getting picked up. For example, this one that is coming out on Saturday, we had one of the smallest budgets I have ever worked with. And I remember while we were shooting it, I was like, there's no way Hallmark is going to buy this, because Hallmark has such a specific look to it. And unfortunately, I think sometimes that look comes down to just having the budget to produce it. So I was thrilled when this little movie got picked up. Sorry, go ahead.
That's with our boy Marcus Rosner, who is so great.
No, that's a different one. This is the one. So I love Marcus. Isn't he lovely?
He's
so nice. And he's killing it. He's a producer now. They're making all these movies in Edmonton. I did one with Rosner in Edmonton last year.
What movie are you talking about that comes out this weekend?
This one's called When Love Springs.
Okay. When Love Springs. And it's on what channel?
Hallmark channel.
It's on Hallmark.
What are you doing?
Well, I thought she said it wasn't picked up by Hallmark.
She's saying that she didn't think that it would be. It wasn't originally.
Gosh, Dan. I'm sorry. I heard that
you're the journey of my heart of Hallmark podcasting.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair that I missed it. Completely fair. I was hearing she was in a movie this weekend that wasn't on Hallmark, and I was shocked. That's on me.
It's fair. No, it's
my
okay,
fault.
Dan. It's okay.
My
it's
fault.
okay. So it's a small budget, is what you're saying, and then it got picked up.
Yes, it did, exactly. But that one with Marcus Rosner, that might be one of those cases where it doesn't. And when I shot it, I thought for sure, because he's such a veteran of Hallmark. He's a great leading man. The script is good. All of it was there, but it just didn't make it to Hallmark. I don't know what the criteria is, but it's not easy to make it onto the Hallmark channel.
So when you're doing these movies, like when you're doing like Journey of My Heart, when you're filming that movie, did you know it was going to be on Hallmark at that point or not?
No.
Okay.
No, we don't know.
So, was Sister Sleuth, is that the first one that you knew was going to be for Hallmark?
That you were a lead?
Yeah, good question. Yes, it was. Absolutely.
That's a fun little movie.
That is fun. Is there going to be more? That was a mystery that seemed like it was the first, hopefully, of many. Hallmark kind of throws it out there and see what they think. Have you heard? Are there going to be more of those? Because we loved it. Big fan of that.
Oh, thank you. This is when I have to do that thing that I hate actors do, where I'm like, I'm not allowed to talk about it, but it's good things coming.
She's not allowed to talk about it, though.
Get ready for another
Sleuth, everybody. The sisters are sleuthing.
This you film these movies that you're not sure if they're going to be on Hallmark or not. Like there's a movie called Sweet as Pie here. I don't know anything about it. I would assume that it's Southern. We're Southern here. I don't. You're in that movie, and then you're also in a movie about like talking to whales, and and you don't know. And one of those ends up on Hallmark.
Yep.
And one of them doesn't.
The whale one.
The whale one does end up on Hallmark. And you like does this ever just surprise you? Aside from clearly this weekend, like the whale.
Because this weekend, like, just got announced like not too long ago.
Yeah.
Coming to Hallmark.
Yeah. I wonder if something happened, because I mean, I'll look forward if you guys do review it. I can't wait to hear. But
you're going to review it. Yeah.
Don't worry.
I don't know if it's good. Like, I know I hate to be. Maybe that's a terrible thing to say, but I don't know if it's good enough to be on the Hallmark channel. Like, I'm really surprised that it's there. So. You never know. You never know when you're filming it. And we just
got word that they're putting that on the DVD box, which is really awesome.
Right. I'm not sure if it's good enough for Hallmark.
The fish.
That's right.
The fish. I'm sure It seems like you're kind of beloved over there, though, right now. Like they're picking up a lot of your movies, getting a little mystery thing going on, throwing you with the golden child of Tyler Hines. Like
Golden Boy is, yep. Yeah, that's when I knew maybe I was like getting my foot a little bit more in the door.
Yeah.
Because I reached out to a couple directors I'd worked with who had also worked with Tyler, and I was like, hey, so what's Tyler like? And all of them responded like, whoa, you're working with Tyler Hines? He's the golden boy. And I was like, oh, this is exciting for me.
I gotta tell you, if you ever get the opportunity to come to like a Christmas con or something like that, which would be so much fun.
We're always there.
The line for Tyler Hines,
it's absurd.
It's absurd. It is as if Tom Cruise is there. It
is like, I'm not joking. Like all of these Hall stars have like legit lines. Dozens of people at any time are there, maybe 50, 60 people in line at a time. Tyler has hundreds.
Yeah.
It is like, you can't, it's inexplicable. And he is a wonderful dude and deserves every bit of it. But you go to these events and they should have a separate room for him. Like a Tyler Hines event and then everybody else.
I mean, I'd go. I don't know about you guys, but if there was just like a strictly Tyler Hines event, I'd be in that line.
Oh yeah.
That man.
Sure.
It's just really something. But that was a lot of fun. You get to see him ride his motorcycle, which was a lot of fun. And you guys kiss. I'm looking back at my notes 1,000 times,
1,000
which was
times.
really,
that is correct.
which was really impressive.
That was the official tally.
Thank you so much.
I imagine that was a fun movie to watch, like the reactions of, because of how like vocal his fans are and stuff.
It really was. And I watched it at this, some of the other movies I see before they go to air. But this one I watched at the same time as the fans of the movie. So it was really exciting to see them get so excited. And yeah, I feel very proud of that movie. I very much enjoyed making it, and I was thrilled that it had such a great audience response.
Tyler always talks about this, sometimes on the record, sometimes off the record with us, about how the script for a Hallmark movie is typically what you make it. Like sometimes you'll get one and it's just amazing, but most times when you get one, it's like, all right, they're going for this, but we want to bring it to here. And it's really about the actors being able to finagle through some scenes that are kind of eye roll scenes, like scenes that are like, all right, this is absurd and it doesn't make sense. How do we get from A to B and get past that and keep the relationship at the center of it? And one of the things he said to me several times was like, Rhiannon was on board with that immediately. Like we tackled some of these things that made this movie so very special. Would you agree with that sentiment in general when you get a script for a Hallmark movie? Like, do you start circling the parts where it's like, all right, character has to shine through right here? Or is it more, or was this the first time that was the case for you on one of these movies?
I have to say it's almost like going through and circling and sometimes going like, what the F? Like what is happening here? What are we and it's very, and that sounded exactly like something Tyler does say, where it's like, we need to figure out like, what are you trying to tell here? And there is a way to make these movies stand out, or there's a way to make them be, just another one that people sort of just watch in the background. And I felt so grateful to work with Tyler, because I have always tried to be somebody that does break it down and find where we can make it better. And, from the moment we hadn't met yet, but we both signed on to the movie. He DM'd me and was like, we exchanged numbers, and immediately right away, we were both like, let's get to work on this script, because it was there. Like all the greatness was there. It just needed little bits of finessing. And it's so great to work with another actor that's willing to put in that extra work.
Yeah. At one point you say that there's only 3 breeds of dog in your hometown in that movie. You say that somehow your hometown in Washington State only has 3 total types of dogs. That's it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Because you're so adorable, it's like it made sense at the time. Somehow.
Like, yeah.
I'm a huge dog person, and I was like, wait a minute.
Wait a second.
Control that population that easily? She was a what? On the sea, there's only 3 types of dogs? 3. It's impressive. It's impressive work is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you. Yeah. I got to say, like, I didn't write that line, nor did Tyler. That was one that came with the script, and there were bigger fish we had to fry, so to speak. So that one we didn't really look too much into that line.
Yeah. You've been just churning out these movies over the last few years, and I know that they're like fast to shoot, but it's also an impressive amount of movies. Does it feel almost like, have you had any time like off since like coming over here? Because it seems like you came from doing the soap opera game, which was nonstop, to coming over here and doing the 100 and then finding Hallmark, and it's been just all full bore.
You have 7 movie credits in 2022 or 23.
It's wild.
Rhiannon.
That's
7.
impressive.
That's insane.
Now that's only about a month of work, I think, total. It's a lot.
True.
That's a lot. Like, has there been any break? Are you happy that you're like, that's gonna be awesome?
Oh my gosh, so happy. Yeah, those 7 movies I shot last year, and it was hard, of course, because it was, like you said, it was a month straight of work, but it was hard. But ultimately, that's the thing as an actor, is that you never know when it's going to stop. So any opportunity that comes up, like we are so accustomed to you just say yes. And I didn't regret saying yes to a single one of those.
Yeah.
Well, we love you, and we're happy that you didn't say
course.
no to any of those.
Did you, in Sweet as Pie, did you have to have a Southern accent? And if so, can we hear a little bit of that right now?
No. I didn't have to have a Southern. We don't really do accents that much on the Hallmark Channel, do we?
That's true. That's true.
No.
Every time they do a movie from down south, it makes me very, very upset, because it's like,
It's not good.
no, well, nobody's trying to get like.
Sometimes there's like one person who will be like,
Tyler
I'll
did
give
a
it
movie
whirl.
called Sweet Carolina. He's supposed to be a basketball coach in North Carolina, and we're in South Carolina, and he's not like, he's straight from Canada. Like, he's not trying.
He has a Canadian accent for sure.
Oh,
like, you
yeah.
can hear his Canadian pop out all the time. I love it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now, are you trying to beat that record of 7 in one year this year? How's that number holding up for you this year? Are you going to beat it?
So far, it's not looking good.
Okay.
But I actually took some time off at the start of the year because it was so busy last year. I had some just boring life stuff that I needed to allow the time for, and so it did mean I don't know if this makes me sound. I don't know if this is a bad thing to say, but I turned down. There were 3 opportunities that I did say no to, but I sort of was like, listen, if I don't take this time to do this life stuff, it's just important to find a balance. So I've tried to do that this year, and now I'm in that position where I'm like, damn it, should I have not turned those down?
No, we turned down a few.
All the time. We turned down several
ourselves.
movies.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
kind of, so we're kind of in a similar boat.
Yeah. We're offer only too. We don't.
Fair, totally fair. I respect that.
Yeah. So this movie that's coming out
on the Hallmark Channel.
On the Hallmark Channel. Nowhere else can you see this.
You gotta have to tune in to see if it's good enough for
Dan Freeland knows a lot about it.
So much.
What is this movie about? And I know it's a spectacle, a huge budget.
A lot of
but
explosions.
what can we kind of expect out of this movie, or do you hope that we can expect out of this movie?
Well, this is one of the tropes that I quite like. It's the fake boyfriend story.
Yeah. Trope's the best.
I think if it's done well, it can be fun. And I know when I started reading it, I was like, oh, I like this concept. So, of course, she breaks up with her boyfriend, and then she bumps into him at this retreat, and so gets the B&B guy to pretend to be her boyfriend. Yep. And then, of course, chaos and love ensues from there.
This has made me think, since you have a trope that you like, when you came over from Australia, were you familiar with these type of movies, or have you like done your homework, or is being in 7 movies in 1 year your homework, and you're not like watching these movies and being like, let me find the tropes I like? Like, how has that been for you since coming over here?
I think that like anyone would be lying to say that they didn't understand what a Hallmark movie is, even if it's just Christmas movies. I know that growing up, I definitely watched Hallmark Christmas movies, even in Australia. And then I really think that you can just watch rom-coms and see that it's just sort of like it's like a rom-com light where, nothing ever tips too hard into like the extremes. And then there you have that's a Hallmark movie.
I love
Tropes.
that.
Tropes, baby.
That's right. We ready for rapid fire?
I think we're ready for rapid fire.
Fantastic.
We each get to ask you 3 questions. These are very different questions than what we've been asking you, in that they are in this segment. And we'll ask you the questions and you have to answer them, and you can go fast, you can go rapid if you want to, or not. So really this is just a thing that we do. Dan, you got a question?
Sure. The food from Australia that you miss the most, that's very difficult to come by here in the States or in Canada.
Okay, I'm vegan now, but before I was vegan, I loved kangaroo. Now I feel really gross saying that.
Wow.
That's a thing?
Like,
oh my God, and it's so good. If you eat meat.
Eating kangaroo? What? You all are monsters.
You just
it's Australian, mate.
Like a kangaroo steak?
Well, yeah. Like it's like they just call it kangaroo. Like it'll be on the menu. It'll be like kangaroo.
But is it like a steak or is it like on the bone? What is it?
No, there's no bone. Thank God. Like the arm of a kangaroo, but it's like
Do they have like a baby Joey steak?
Honestly, probably. And then like a side of koala, a little emu.
Yeah, a little side of koala. Wow. So what's so good about kangaroo before you were a vegan?
Before I was vegan. Well, I just loved meat. My favorite food in the whole world was like a rack of ribs. And there's like kangaroo meat is arguably, it's good. And it feels awful, but it was good. Really juicy, nice meat.
This is news to it.
Yeah. Why'd you go vegan? I'm not even gonna end the rapid fire.
Because she saw a kangaroo.
She saw the movie Kangaroo Jack and she was like, what have we been doing after this?
She had never actually seen a kangaroo. And then she saw one, she was like, oh, what are we doing? They got a pouch.
She went on a walkabout.
Nice, yeah. No, I mean, well, not far off that. I just learned what animal cruelty was. And I was like, oh, that's probably bad. I shouldn't eat any more kangaroos. And then once you stop eating kangaroo, you just kind of go down the line.
Oh, man. There you have it. Wow.
Sorry, I'm just
It's not going to get any better than that. I'm just letting you know right now.
What's your favorite beverage to drink on a regular basis?
I like a really cold beer, like really cold tap, some kind of but I like basic beer. Like I like a Bud, some kind of Miller.
You are American at that point.
Yeah.
It's beer is about how cold it is, not anything else. It's literally 100%. Like whatever frozen is, just back it off a degree and we're good.
Here in America, we had a group of people get into a board meeting and go, what if we made the can
turn
blue so that people know when it's cold enough to drink?
But that's
revolutionary.
I'm with Rhiannon on this. Like you get a beer out of the fridge and put it in an ice cooler. And after about an hour, then I want to drink it. It's so refreshing.
My favorite is in Canada when it's super, like when it's snowing out and you keep the beers outside. And then when you crack it, it's got that little bit of ice on the top.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Yeah. Now she's talking.
Got a beer in one hand, a kangaroo in another.
Kangaroo steak and a cold
living the dream.
Let's go.
Yeah, baby.
Not guilty pleasure, because no TV should be called a guilty pleasure. But what's the thing in your spare time when you're not filming 800 movies in a year that you're watching on TV or movies or what have you?
I love reality TV. It's my favorite. You name a reality show, I watch it.
MILF Manor.
You're not the first person to talk to me about MILF Manor. Should I be watching that?
Brand loves it.
I don't
know.
Do you know about MILF Manor?
Yeah, I do. People have been telling me to watch it.
There's a big twist in it, though.
Do you know about the twist?
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
So it is yeah.
It shouldn't be on TV. It shouldn't be on TV. It's all I'll tell you.
I'll watch it, and then hopefully next time if we talk again, we'll
coming back for sure.
The fish.
So is there a reality show that you're in on right now?
I'm really into Vanderpump Rules, as is everybody.
Yeah, classic.
I know what that is. I don't know
for sure you do.
I'm too busy watching MILF Manor.
You say that like it's not questionable. Everyone listening right now is going to be like, he's watching what?
Yeah, I had to. I came home from work yesterday. And I was like, babe, I watched MILF Manor today at work. Sorry about it. Felt like I had to repent. Where's you've been to some fun place. You've been to Australia, you've been to Canada, 2 places I've never been. Is there somewhere in the world that you're dying to go that you would just go right now if you had the opportunity?
I want to go to I always forget how to say it. I want to go to the Maldives. Did I say that weird in Australian? Maldives?
Yeah, we
I
just
never
watched
know.
a movie about
Yeah,
it.
there was a Hallmark movie about them. They
I
filmed it.
saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in the water, like the resort is.
Oh,
over
that
the
resort
water.
was incredible.
Yeah, that's where I want to go. Did they
Yeah.
shoot that there?
They did.
Yes.
They did.
Can you imagine getting that
Who
call?
got that call? My
Yeah.
gosh.
And there is
I
there
think
a couple,
It was an acquired movie, and they're a married
a
couple.
real life couple.
Love
Got
that
to-
for them.
Got to go over
Yeah, I
there,
love
and
that for them. Yeah,
super cool for them. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
That's very kind. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Who is your maybe not favorite, but what Australian director or film star is their movies are must watch in the theater? Like if there's one you're like, I'm gonna go watch this because such and such directed it or such and such is in it, who would that be?
I have to say, I adored Heath Ledger. And I'm sorry for the, obviously what goes with that, but I think that he was going to go on to be, not that he wasn't already, just one of the greatest actors of all time. So he was my favorite for sure.
Yeah. I mean, 10 Things I Hate About You. That would you.
Oh, classic.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
All right, my last question is this. What's Tyler Hines' worst trait?
Oh,
his worst trait.
And we know he smokes cigarettes. We know that.
He's not doing that right now.
Okay, whatever.
Is that what he says?
Yeah, he said he's not.
Okay. That's all I needed right
he
there.
He said he's not doing that right now.
Right now he's
not.
Sure,
Right
sure.
now.
Is it that he eats a big kangaroo steak? Is that what it is?
His worst trait, and it's so hard because God knows I have like such a big schoolgirl crush on Tyler. His worst trait, I can't find one. I don't know it.
She's just too Canadian Australian. She can't.
No, it's just Tyler Hines. I mean, you can't fault the man. He's amazing.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you. I'll think about that in my spare time. I'll tweet it to you guys.
God bless you. You have been so wonderful. Thanks for coming.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for letting me call you the fish for the last.
I love it. Please don't stop. Thank you.
Been amazing. We can't wait until Saturday on the Hallmark Channel.
That's right. Where else would it be?
This is what Dan has been looking forward to all week. He knew about it.
Calendar is set,
and he's very excited. And until next time, may we be the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.